All right.
Yo, yo, yo.
Coming to you live from Philly. It's the Paulie Tony Fusco Show.
Yo, yo,
As always, Paulie Fusco here with Tony Fusco and Tony.
Yo.
Huge show today. Lots to talk about. First off, people out there claiming that the Eagles lost to the Commanders. We'll tell you who the real losers are, people, and I'll give you a hint. It's the Commanders fans. And, also, we said last week, hit the nail right on the head. We said Jeff Saturday was a smart hire by the Colts, and we were proven right once again, weren't we, Tony?
Of course. What else is new? You heard it here first.
Exactly. Well, the execs at Fox Sports Radio, we have this new partnership with them that, I'm already starting to regret, Tony. They asked us to have a guest on the show this week to talk about the Colts coaching situation. They're giving us a former NFL offensive lineman. And, we've said this many times. Who wants to hear from an offensive lineman?
Just a terrible booking today.
And on top of that, get this, Tony. He hosts a podcast. Listen to this title. This is the title of his podcast. Jeff Schwartz is smarter than you. That is the actual title of the podcast, which just shows you what this clown thinks of himself.
Yeah, pretty big ego on this guy.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have to put him in his place. But before we get to all that, got to do a little business up top. A sponsor read for our dear friends at Casper Mattress. Did you get your mattress at a department store where 100 people could have slept on it? That's disgusting.
Yeah. You probably can't sleep at night because you're too busy worrying about all the diseases that you caught.
Casper Mattresses, because if your mattress doesn't come in a box, it's gross. Use the discount code Paulie and Tony #1 show for 1.2% off your first order under $20. Casper. All right, well, we got that business out of the way, Tony, and there's so much to get to, so let's get right into our top story.
Top story.
All right, first out the gate, war of words breaking out in the NFL over the controversial hiring of Colts head coach Jeff Saturday. And, all last week, people out there, they were moaning and whining about the hiring because Jeff Saturday had zero professional coaching experience. Well, now look who has a career winning percentage of 100% there.
Yep.
But, people, they're still just up in arms about this. You got the former Steelers head coach Bill Cowher. He was on CBS's NFL Today, that show which is literally never interesting at all, but for once
worst show in the history of television.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, Cowher, he came out and he said that the hiring of Jeff Saturday is an insult to coaches who have worked their way up the ranks, spent years in coaching. Well, then just the other day on the other side of this, you've got Mad Dog Russo, who is now on ESPN's First Take for some reason that nobody can explain, but that's another story. Anyway, Russo comes out and he says that Cowher is an insult to broadcasters because he had no broadcasting experience and yet got a job at CBS. And Tony, when you look at it, Russo, for once, has a very good point here, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Bill Cowher's mere presence on television is an insult to all the broadcasters who work their way up, like Mike Tirico. I mean, Mike Tirico put in the time, and it's sad to see Bill Cowher disrespect Mike Tirico that way. When you think about it, it's only fair that when an NFL coaches want to get into broadcasting, they should have to start out in a small market like Wichita, Topeka, on the 6 o'clock news as an intern or a production assistant for a few years before they earn their way to a bigger market, like maybe Des Moines or Sacramento. And then they can get to be on CBS.
Great point, Tony. And this story actually has sprung a whole new storyline because now people are bashing Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels because he lost to Jeff Saturday. They're saying that McDaniels should have won the game because he has 20 years more professional coaching experience, compared to Saturday. But these fools are once again missing the point, aren't they, Tony?
They don't get it at all. People keep focusing on coaching experience, but what about life experience?
There you go.
Jeff Saturday is 1 year older than Josh McDaniels. He's 47 and Josh McDaniels is just 46. Think about it. Remember when you were in 7th grade? you knew way more than you did in the 6th grade because you had a whole extra year of life. Yep. As the saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but an old dog knows way more than a young dog.
So well put there, Tony. And, truly a lot of food for thought there. And, another point that I haven't heard anyone in the media make because they're lazy. Jeff Saturday, he played center. I mean, people always act like quarterback is the most important position on the team.
Great point.
But that's not true at all, right, Tony?
100%. It's called center for a reason. You can't run a play without your center. The center is at the center of the entire football organization. This is why we've always said Peyton Manning is overrated. If Jeff Saturday hadn't expertly delivered the ball to Peyton Manning's hands every time, then nobody would even know who Peyton Manning is today.
Tony, sometimes the truth is very hard for people to accept, and you can't deny that was all true, what you said right there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, the next story here, not the top story, because frankly, it's not that big a deal, but the Eagles, finally, quote-unquote, lost their first game of the season to Washington on Monday night. Now, people are saying this is because the Commanders played well. No. There was a clear missed face mask penalty on the Eagles' Dallas Goedert, and, that was the whole game right there. And, this would have never happened, Tony, if the NFL had been smart and had taken our advice, the advice we gave right on the show a few weeks ago to Dean Blandino, and it implemented the system that we suggested. Instead of having one team of refs on the field and letting them do whatever they want, no, you have another team of refs there too overseeing them. As we said, refs to ref the refs.
This is America. Our country was founded on a system of checks and balances. We're giving refs way too much power. If our founding fathers like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln saw what was going on in the NFL, they would be absolutely horrified.
You're absolutely right, Tony. And you know what's even more horrifying here? There are young kids at home watching these games. What example is the league setting if a player can just openly break a rule and totally get away with it? What are we teaching kids these days? You and me, we don't have kids, luckily. But if we did, I would be horrified by the terrible example the NFL is setting here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to sound like this is hyperbole, but this makes me worry about the future of our country, to be honest.
You're not the only one, Tony. And, just another small thing to mention here, because, the media refuses to cover it, because they're cowards. Another bone I have to pick with the Commanders. They're stealing a page right out of the Eagles playbook, right before everybody's eyes. It's pure and simple plagiarism what they're doing. They saw how the Eagles won a Super Bowl, right? You bring in Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz goes down with an injury because he's brittle and his body can't be trusted. And then you go to a backup QB who nobody has ever heard of. That is totally straight out of the Eagles playbook, totally plagiarism. And Tony, this would be an uproar. There would be an uproar if we saw this in some other industry, because you see it all the time, don't you?
Absolutely. We also see this plagiarism in Hollywood. I remember when one of the all-time great volcano movies came out. Of course, I'm talking about Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan. Well, a month after that came out, Tommy Lee Jones came out with another volcano movie called Volcano. And if I remember correctly, Dante's Peak sued Volcano, and that's why nobody ever talks about Volcano to this day.
Wow, Tony, such a terrific and clear analogy there. So perfectly connecting the dots for the audience so they can understand that Dante's Peak is the Eagles and Volcano is the Commanders. Terrific job by you.
Thank you.
Well, on the subject of not doing a terrific job, that goes to whoever booked our guest today, because now it's time for our guest segment. I see him coming on the line. So let's bring him on the Fusco Satellite Network.
Fusco Satellite Network.
All right, our guest, former offensive lineman with the Panthers, Vikings, Chiefs, Giants. You can hear him on Fox Sports Radio. He also hosts a podcast. This is very interesting, called Jeff Schwartz is Smarter Than You. which is a hell of a title for a show there. You know, clearly thinks very highly of himself there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's just get him on the show. Jeff Schwartz. We're going to have to just take you down a couple notches.
Yeah, you're going to have to get knocked down a couple of notches
Tony will give him the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe he is smart. You know, Jeff, obviously the big story out of the NFL. You know, Jeff Saturday winning his first game as head coach of the Colts, which we totally called. He beat the Raiders despite having no previous NFL coaching experience.
Didn't even matter.
In the process, he shut up all his critics like yourself. Isn't that game just proof right there that you and everyone else were totally wrong about the Jeff Saturday hire?
Maybe. I mean, we'll see how it goes afterwards. It could be the Raiders also stink. And they got Matt Ryan back, which I think a lot of us would have felt differently if we knew Matt Ryan was playing before they announced he was playing 30 minutes before the game. So we could be wrong, certainly, but I think it definitely shows that maybe we think too highly of coaches at times and how much kind of work they put in. But we'll see. I mean, you know, I'm curious if anyone else does this. Like, if the Raiders fire Josh McDaniels, they're gonna bring in like Howie Long to coach a team? Like, who's going to be the Raiders coach?
Yeah. Well, I would actually be kind of interested to see Howie Long coach a team. You know, he is an A-level star. You know, I mean, don't you think? I mean, you were getting somewhere with this. You know, Jeff Saturday was a center, right? So he was the center. Everything had to go through him. So doesn't that seem like you are an offensive lineman? Doesn't it make sense why a center would make a great head coach?
They're calling all the plays.
No, the quarterbacks call the plays.
But who's the one who has to start the play? That's the center.
He definitely has the ball.
Do anything.
He definitely is one of the two guys that touches the ball every single play. So I'll give you guys credit on that one. I think Saturday is very bright. He's a good motivator. Obviously, we knew
obviously
that
not as bright as the great Jeff Schwartz.
There's procedural things. There's obviously game planning and whatnot that he nailed in week one already. So it kind of makes guys like me look stupid. So maybe my podcast isn't really great.
There we go. See, we're starting to have an admission here that maybe you should retitle your show, Jeff Schwartz is not as quite smart as he thought he was. Wouldn't that be a more accurate title?
It's not as catchy, though. I feel like it's a little catchier.
Disagree. What about you are smarter than Jeff Schwartz? That's also a good podcast.
Great suggestion, Tony.
That's a great one. I'll run that by my podcast.
But you know, you hit on something there. You said head coaching experience is overrated. You know, we pointed out something earlier in the show.
No, I said
what?
I said it might be overrated.
No, might. That's called
that was backtracking.
Have a take.
He's moonwalking.
What? Explain yourself.
I did not say that it's overrated every single situation.
This guy.
But I think we've seen at times that even if you've been the head coach before and you were unsuccessful, that does not mean you'll be successful the second time around, right? And so maybe there's something to the idea. Again, one game sample size that not having any experience for this specific position might pay off if you have good coaches around you.
Well, are you saying that you had an experience somewhere with a head coach and you realized this person was overrated and you potentially want to name names here right now on this show?
Yeah,
I play with some good coaches, man. I never felt like anyone was
really looking to back out of the answer there. Okay, sure. And yet you somehow know that a head coach could be overrated. Okay, keep going with your kiss-ass answer. All right.
There are some coaches. I mean, is Nathaniel Hackett good right now, or is the Broncos coach good?
Are you asking us? You just look at his record. Not good. I mean, I thought you were smarter than everybody. Can you read what NFL standings look like? I'm a little concerned.
Y'all thought your head coaching hire 2 years ago was a bum.
No, we never said that.
In
fact,
when
he gave that legendary press conference, we were the ones who said this is a good sign.
Yup. Go back to the archives.
People said Nick Sirianni couldn't put two words together. We said, who cares? That means he's more focused on football. You're focused on speaking.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was wrong about that one too.
Well, then again, why do you call your show Jeff Schwartz? You've admitted that you're wrong now, I think 20 times in this interview. I think it's time.
But how about the times I'm correct?
I'm absolutely horrified by your performance in this interview. It's really been terrible for you. So can I just get you to admit that after this interview, you're going to go change the name of your podcast? Let me give you a better topic. Here's a better title for you. Jeff Schwartz is of below average intelligence. Will you change it to that?
Yeah.
If everyone goes and listens to it, surely I will. Yes. Make sure to listen to my podcast, though.
Of all the shameless plugs I've ever heard.
He's adding conditions, Paulie.
You know the title for this show? It's called Jeff Schwartz Just Got His Ass Kicked Off the Show.
Because guess what, Jeff Schwartz?
Terrible interview.
Guess what? You are, Jeff Schwartz.
You don't know
You're
anything.
done. Because you're finished. You can't admit anything. You're off the show, Jeff Schwartz.
Fusco Satellite Network.
Is he off the line?
Jay, hang up the phone.
You know, Tony, if that's the type of person that Fox Sports Radio considers talent, I am definitely questioning this partnership.
Absolutely. We should have known.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Wait, let's not go out on a negative note here. Positive note. We're going to thank our sponsor, the Casper Mattresses.
Yeah.
And,
hold on.
Oh, no.
Corrections.
If it isn't the one person Jeff Schwartz is actually smarter than.
There you
Producer
go. Nice
Jay.
way to tie it there. What?
Hey, number one, you said Jeff Saturday has a career winning percentage of 100%.
True. That's a stat.
Yeah, he does.
That's not how stats work. You can't use percentages when a guy has only coached one game.
Oh, yeah? Well, here's a percentage. You are 100% annoying.
Yeah, I'm going to hit you with 100% of my car after the show. Now
Good
we're
one,
done.
Tony.
That's it. Yeah, no more.
Second, another one.
What?
You called the Eagles player Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, his name is pronounced Goddard.
Yeah. As in, God, why did you give us such a shitty producer?
Yeah. Your face is going to go in the dirt when I see you after the show.
Great one, Tony. Great one.
We're done. No more.
One more thing.
What?
What?
Look, on the subject of pronunciations, Tony, you said the word hyperbole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's pronounced hyperbole.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to kick you in your hyperboles, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. Pronounce this. You suck, Producer Jay.
Good one, Tony.
Say.
Yeah, he'll learn not to interrupt the show after that one. Anyway, but I do have a reason to interrupt right now, Tony, because I just got a big word. Now booked on the show for next week, Eagles legend, Super Bowl hero Nick Foles. Wow, we look forward to that. In the
Huge
meantime,
booking, finally.
Don't forget to follow us on our many hugely successful social platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We're all
over.
And, Tony, great job as always.
Same to you, Paulie. Another flawless show.
There you go. All right, we'll see you people next week. Bye.
See ya.